Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Concerns growing over Omicron variant following UK's first confirmed death. WHO data suggests the Omicron coronavirus variant is more transmissible than the Delta strain. And later in sports, reggae boys secure friendly international next month. I'm Shane Masters, and here are the details. We begin this afternoon with a development on the international scene. The United Kingdom has confirmed its first death from the Omicron variant of COVID-19. CNN is reporting that not much is known about the patient, to include the vaccination status. But UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is raising concern. At the same time, local public health experts say more information is still needed about Omicron. Concern is now growing following the first confirmed death from the Omicron variant of COVID-19. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson said that he is concerned about a spike of Omicron cases, not only in London, which now accounts for 40% of all cases, but also in other parts of the country as well. Scientists believe this first death from this strain of the virus is a very significant development. Clinical coordinator for the Western Regional Health Authority, Dr. Delroy Frey, while expressing concern, says more information is still needed.
What you have to look at you have to look at the detail of that. And I'll tell you one thing. Even with the ordinary coronavirus, before we had COVID-19, people were hospitalized and people had died from the complication of viruses. So one has to be careful how you pick a single case and make a statement about it. And I would be prepared to just watch some more and continue with our preparatory mode in the event that, hospitalization should increase. And that's what I would do.
Speaking today on the morning agenda on Power 106, Dr. Frey said he was hopeful that the Omicron variant of COVID-19 will not have as devastating an impact on the Jamaican population as the Delta strain.
From our side here, the last wave that came, it really tested us to the limit. And I think we are better prepared to handle any wave that will come in terms of, planning and to do with it. And we have put the plans in place in expectation for it. And I'm always of the belief that it's best to plan, but if we can prevent it, it's even better.
Chief among the lessons, Dr. Frey noted, is the oxygen shortage, which affected numerous health facilities.
At Corner Regional Hospital, we have 2 bulk stores, and we have a trailer park ready in the event that, systems would go down. And we have a number, over 100 cylinders available. And this is monitored daily. At the Falmouth Hospital, we have bulk source cylinders as well. At the Savlamar Hospital, we have bulk source cylinders as well. And we monitor the Noel Hobbs Hospital in terms of cylinders that we use in order to replenish at. So from the last pandemic, we learned the flow that is required, and we have system in place to deal with that.
And a major development in the region. Trinidad and Tobago has recorded its first case of the Omicron variant. Health Minister Terence Dayal Singh confirmed the positive case during a virtual COVID-19 briefing today. Mr. Dayal Singh said the case was detected in a woman who traveled from New York with a positive PCR test to Panama, where she boarded with a negative antigen test. He said the positive PCR test was noted by Port Health in Trinidad and Tobago, and the woman was placed in isolation at a step-down facility where she remains. He said 14 other people from the flight who were in close proximity to the woman returned negative PCR tests and are isolated at home. In the meantime, according to early data released yesterday by the World Health Organization, WHO, the Omicron coronavirus variant is more transmissible than the Delta strain and reduces vaccine efficacy, but causes less severe symptoms. The Delta variant, first identified in India earlier this year, is responsible for most of the world's coronavirus infections. But South Africa's discovery last month of Omicron, which has a large number of mutations, prompted countries around the world to impose travel bans on southern African countries and reintroduce domestic restrictions to slow its spread. The WHO said as of December 9, Omicron had spread to 63 countries. Faster transmission was noted in South Africa, where Delta is less prevalent, and in Britain, where Delta is the dominant strain. But a technical brief from the WHO stressed that a lack of data meant it could not say if Omicron's rate of transmission was because it was less prone to immune responses, higher transmissibility, or a combination of both. Two trade unions have reacted to the ruling from the Supreme Court on Friday, which struck out the constitutional aspects of a case brought by 5 Caramid employees who claimed their rights were being violated by the company's COVID-19 vaccination policy. Jamaica Maitland has more.
A trade unionist is asserting that some COVID-19 vaccination policies in the private sector do not offer workers who refuse to take the jab a practical alternative. Under some vaccination policies, an employee who refuses to take the COVID-19 vaccine must present a negative PCR test regularly in order to enter the workplace. General Secretary of the Union of Technical, Administrative and Supervisory Personnel, St. Patrice Ennis, says some workers are not able to afford the PCR test. As a result, Mr. Ennis said the workers are in essence being forced to take the vaccine.
We have read where the rates are between $15,000 and $20,000 per test. The workers cannot, in many instances, cannot afford to do such a vaccination. The argument that it is offered for free, that's not my understanding. The government conducts tests on persons if they are asymptomatic or through contact tracing, or put it simply, if recommended by a doctor. So the notion or the narrative that it can be accessed free of cost, the government only offer PCR tests in 2 institutions, the University Hospital and the National Public Health Laboratory, and that is for the entire island.
Now the matter is set to be reviewed on the merits of the employee's contract. President of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, Helene Davis White, made this statement.
There is still hope based on the decision that the court may make in relation to the contract law provisions, but certainly what it has meant in relation to the constitutional aspects of the case is that based on the submissions that were made, the issue was not one for breach of constitution, but was properly really for something that could be dealt with under the contract law provision. I expect that there will be some implications for cases, but I think each case has to be based on its own merit.
Jamaica Maitland, TVJ News.
Another stinging defense of a COVID-19 vaccine by a government minister. In talking of the benefits of the drug, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck took issue with the arguments of some church groups who are opposed to the vaccine. Sandra Williams reports.
The battle of pro and anti-vaccine views is dragging on as long as the pandemic itself. And during his latest speech, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck, who is pro-vaccines, took aim at religious groups who are opposed to the drug.
The religious people were saying that is God sent it. My God is a good God. My God don't do that. So those who spread that false rumor, they're wrong.
He reasoned further that what some religious groups are saying about this pandemic is not new.
There are religious people who say that COVID-19 is God sent. And it's God coming back for, to take over. So we must resist it. We must just allow it to spread, and because the world is coming to an end soon. And that is what COVID-19 is about. With due respect, that was what was said every pandemic over the centuries.
He labeled some of the COVID messages from people, including religious groups, as brainwash. The Justice Minister addressed the matter during a speech to Justices of the Peace in Clarendon recently. The JPs were given a charge to become ambassadors for the vaccines by using their influence in communities to encourage people to take the drug.
Why do I insist and urge you to get vaccinated? If you're vaccinated, yes, you can get the virus. But the virus, if you get it, within a matter of a couple of days, the body fight back. It has a defensive system. So even if you're hospitalized, within less than a few days, the virus is destroyed. Because when you are vaccinated, the immune system is activated for that particular virus. No one has died from the vaccine. People who have been vaccinated have died, but it's not from the vaccine.
Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
3 more people have died in Jamaica from COVID-19. The death toll from the virus has increased to 2,428. The latest fatalities comprise a man and 3 women from Kingston. The deaths occurred between Friday and yesterday. Meanwhile, 37 COVID-19 cases were recorded yesterday from 489 samples. The COVID-19 positivity rate is now 7.5%. Hospitalizations from COVID-19 has reduced by 13 to 98. 10 of those admitted are severely ill, while another 6 are in critical condition. And it's time for a break here on the Midday News. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. The National Works Agency, NWA, and the St. Elizabeth Police have instituted changes to the movement of traffic through the commercial center of Santa Cruz for the Christmas season. The changes, which took effect this morning, will continue until the first week of January. The main street from the intersection of Coke and Institution Drives to the intersection of Wanted and Retirements Road, traveling in a westerly direction, is now a one-way. Transport traveling in an easterly direction towards Santa Cruz will now have to travel along Wanstead Road to Institution and Bacon Drives. There will be no right turn from Coke Drive onto Main Street and no right turn from Main Street onto Market Street. The changes will operate between 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Mondays to Saturdays. The adjustment is aimed at reducing congestion that is expected in Santa Cruz during the Christmas season. In the meantime, the police and the parish are seeking to make the changes to the traffic flow in Santa Cruz permanent over time. The plan is to make Main Street a one-way traveling westerly and the Santa Cruz bypass a one-way flowing easterly. The medical officer for Clarendon has attributed the improved COVID-19 situation in the parish to the increased vaccination in Clarendon. Dr. Kimberly Scarlett Campbell said only 36 active cases were reported in the parish and only 5 persons were hospitalized at the COVID-19 isolation ward at the Mapen Hospital. Dr. Scarlett Campbell gave the update during the latest municipal meeting in the parish. She also indicated that the 13 vaccine blitz held at high schools across the parish were well supported.
The Clarendon Health Department has been really pushing out hard to increase our parish vaccination rates. And as you can see in the report there, we gave over 14,000 vaccines for the month of November. And we have changed our approach. Our approach has been formally to have our fixed vaccination sites and have persons come to those sites. But what we have found that has worked for us is that we're now going more to the people and we're going into communities.
A man was fatally shot yesterday on Red Hills Road in St. Andrew. TVJ News was informed that the incident happened near Price Smart shortly after 5 o'clock. The man was said to have been a community barber. He was walking when explosions were heard. The man was later seen lying on the road suffering from bullet wounds. And it's now time for the Business Minute. The Sangster International Airport is at an advanced stage in the selection of a team that will carry out the expansion of its runway. At a recent forum, Sangster International CEO Shane Monroe said that the expansion is to commence shortly.
That contract commences in January of 2022. We're now at the stage where a formal announcement will shortly be made on the contractor that will be executing these works. And of course, this project will result in an extension of the runway by 400 meters, implementation of RESA, runway and safety area, and other associated safety benefits that will improve not just safety but also operational efficiency.
Preparatory work for the project has commenced with the relocation of some infrastructure and the acquisition of land. The runway expansion will allow for the accommodation of more wide-bodied aircraft with increased passenger and cargo capacity. Italy has hit Amazon with a massive penalty for what the country's antitrust watchdog called abuse of market dominance. The fine is equivalent of $1.28 billion and is one of the biggest penalties imposed on a US tech giant in Europe. Italy's government says Amazon used its marketplace dominance to favor the adoption of its own logistics service, which is called Fulfillment by Amazon. The e-commerce giant said it strongly disagreed with the penalty and would appeal. Other big tech companies have also come under increasing regulatory scrutiny in Europe recently. It follows a string of scandals over privacy and misinformation and complaints from some businesses that big firms abuse their market power. And that's it for the Business Minute. Now to the regional and international stories with Sandy Williams.
In the region, in Dominica, opposition leader Lennox Linton has been re-elected leader of the main opposition, United Workers' Party UWP. Linton, who has been in the position since 2013 when he replaced former Prime Minister Edison James, was re-elected unopposed at the party's annual delegates conference, which was held in 4 different locations on the island on Sunday due to the restrictions posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. The UWP supporters also re-elected Isaac Baptiste unopposed as president, while Ezekiel Basil succeeds Hector John as vice president. John did not seek re-election and Basil was the only nominee for that position.
And we head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your Midday Sports Report. Simon Preston is here.
Welcome back. It's now time for Midday Sports. I'm Simon Preston. The West Indies lost to Pakistan by 63 runs in the first of 3 T20 internationals in Karachi today. Batting first, Pakistan posted 200 for 6 off their 20 overs, with Mohammad Rizwan top scoring with 78. Romario Shepa took 2 for 43, while Akil Hussain, O'Shane Thomas, Dominic Drakes and Adeem Smith took a wicket each. In reply, the Caribbean side were bowled out for 137 inside 19 overs. Shea Hope top scored with 31, while Jamaican Adeem Smith made 24. Mohamed Wazima took 4 for 40 for the home side. The second T20 is slated for Tuesday at the same venue. The Reggae Boys will play Peru in a friendly international in Lima on January 20 next year. This will be the 4th time both teams will be playing each other. The Reggae Boys have drawn 1 and lost twice of their previous meetings with Peru. The date does not fall within a FIFA match window, so the UK-based players will not be available for this fixture. However, the North America, Scandinavia and Jamaica Premier League-based players will be available for the match. Like Jamaica, Peru are also fighting for a spot at the World Cup. The South Americans are tied in 5th with Colombia on 17 points after 14 games with 4 games to go. 4 teams qualified directly from CONMEBOL, while the 5th team will head to the Intercontinental Playoffs. 3 teams from CONCACAF qualified directly to the FIFA showpiece, while the 4th place team will play in the Intercontinental Playoffs. Jamaica are currently 6th in the CONCACAF final round on 7 points, 7 points behind 4th position. Reggae Boys striker Kemar Roof and Rangers have been drawn to face Borussia Dortmund in the knockout playoff round of the UEFA Europa League. The draw, which took place early today, will see Rangers travelling to Germany on February 17 and welcoming Dortmund to the Ibrox on February 24. Roof has scored 1 goal in 4 appearances in the Europa League this season and 10 goals in 19 appearances in all competitions. Another Reggae Boy in Mikel Antonio and West Ham United are already in the round of 16 of the competition. Defending champions Chelsea will play French side Lille in the round of 16 of the UEFA Champions League after the draw for the knockout stages took place for a second time earlier today. A technical problem caused an error in the initial draw, which UEFA said had been declared void. Premier League champions Manchester City face Portugal's Sporting Lisbon, while 6-time winners Liverpool play 3-time winners Inter Milan. Manchester United will face Spanish champions Atletico Madrid. In the standout tie of the round, 13-time champions Real Madrid come up against French powerhouse Paris Saint-Germain. In the other matches, Ajax will battle Benfica, Juventus entertains Villarreal, while Bayern Munich faces Red Bull Salzburg. And that is it for your Midday Sports Report. I'm Simon Preston. O'Shane, it is over to you.
Thanks, Simon. And just before we go, Simon, your assessment of the West Indies in the T20 match between Pakistan, was it bowling or batting that caused the defeat?
A combination of all 3 areas, the batting, the bowling and in the field as well. The inconsistency is still there. A lot of new faces to the squad. The senior veterans not there. It's going to take some time to rebuild this team for the World Cup next year.
And your predictions for the other two matches?
I feel that West Indies will win one of the remaining two, but Pakistan will win the T20 series 2-1.
Thanks, Simon. And that's it for the Midday News. I'm Shane Masters. Join us at 7 for primetime news on behalf of the news, sports and production teams. Good afternoon.